Hello, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Vinyl Vault. As always, I'm your host, Parker.
And I'm Tony.
And tonight we are taking it back. We're taking it back to the 70s. And the reason I say the 70s is we are doing something a little different than we normally would. We are doing our first greatest hits album, and we're doing that on purpose. Now, I say 70s. This album came out in I think it was 1998, but the songs are all from the 70s. Maybe a couple in the 80s. But anyway, Tony, I won't waste any more time. Let's get right into it. We are talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire. Ladies and gentlemen, the elements. And I can't think of a more 100% belongs on the Mount Rushmore of funk pop groups, ensemble bands, than Earth, Wind, and Fire. Fun story, I was doing a little bit of research on the group, and it was, I believe, Maurice Price is the singer. A lot of people wonder how he came up with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And so some of the research that I had learned was astrology. It's all based on astrology. I guess he's a Sagittarius, and basically, I can't explain it in detail, but Earth, Wind, and Fire were something to do with his horoscope. Water did not make the cut, and it's okay. But Tony, before we dive into this album specifically,
Sure.
How familiar are you with Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I mean, it's almost impossible to not know who they are, and whether or not you would actually know their songs or the titles for stuff. But like looking at the initial list of all of these songs, I knew a handful, maybe a little less, just by title. But then upon listening to it, I was like, oh, yeah, I know this one, or I've heard this one before, and so on and so forth. So I'm not super familiar, but I'm familiar enough just as a musician and just being around and generally kind of liking disco and funk and that 70s, 80s era of music that, I'm fully aware of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and especially, September is almost undeniable as well.
So it's funny you bring up September. And for our viewers, I'd like to think we stumbled upon this. Whenever I was selecting Earth, Wind, and Fire as our artist for this week, I told myself, I said, I need to find the album that September is on. Well, here's the problem, folks. September is not on any studio album of Earth, Wind, and Fire. September was originally included in the 1970, I think it's 78 version of the Greatest Hits. It's Earth, Wind, and Fire's Greatest Hits Volume 1. And it was released as a single from their Greatest Hits compilation. Through some research, I've found out that it was basically a song to kind of get people interested in buying this album. So, you'll learn from my list that it's not my best hit from them. It's not my favorite song that they have on this album. But a lot of people, when you come to think of it, I would say one of, if not their most popular hit, maybe not their best, but their most popular hit doesn't exist on a studio album unless you buy this or any other greatest hits compilation. It's just, it's an interesting fun fact.
Yeah. And it's a clever way of just selling a record, especially if it's like a really, really good popular song. So it's clever in that way, but it's also really interesting that September was not on any of the regular normal albums.
Yeah, and if you are not super familiar with Earth, Wind, and Fire, if you love ensemble bands with a multitude of instruments, if you love funk, this is probably the first album that I'm going to mention it in a while, Tony. It's going to be a while that I've said this.
Mm-hmm.
The stank face was activated. For those that are unfamiliar, the stank face is when you listen to a groove and a funk that is so powerful that you kind of look like you're angry at it, like a stank face.
That is the highest compliment that you can give a musician is the stank face.
It's a very stinky compliment, and the stank face was activated. And I looked at the personnel list for this album. It's a 17-track greatest hits album. I think there was like over 50 musicians that have been on this list. I mean, granted, they're all songs from different eras, so they didn't have the same person playing the trumpet on one song as they did the other. I mean, look at them go. Look at them go. I saw them live in 2016 out in Chicago, and obviously it wasn't the same Earth, Wind, and Fire that became famous, but they put on a good show. Look at that. Bongos, too many guitars. It's fantastic. But let's cut to the chase here. I want to talk about, Tony, the songs you thought were the best, and I'll go ahead and just ruin this. I did not stop at 3. I have 5.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I did 5 was because I didn't want to have a 2-way tie each way. And I personally felt like, and I didn't communicate this, and this is my fault, I felt like since it was a greatest hits and it was nothing but their best,
right?
I felt like it was very hard to narrow it down to simply just 3.
Yeah, I could see why that would be a struggle. As each of these songs are supposed to be hits and huge ones, especially if it's their greatest. And I don't know if there were other greatest hits like a volume 2 or 3 or 4 and so on. But if this is their first, I would imagine that they would put their best, right in the front there.
It's weird. I think there's a volume 2 somewhere, but this 1998 version is a reissue of that 78 album.
Okay.
And they did expand on it to include more hits, but we'll get into one of the ones that they missed, and I got beef with that, but please continue.
Okay, sure. So should I start with my, I guess, lowest, or should I go for my favorite?
I'd start it. Let's go 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Okay. So for number 3, I'm going to actually put September.
Okay.
September, though, pretty much I would think the most iconic song by them. I think it, for me, just because I don't view it as number 1, because I think it does get played quite a bit, and especially around this time, and especially on the 21st of September, I'm sure we'll be hearing it quite a bit, even more.
Is that Sunday or Monday?
That is Sunday.
Okay.
It loses at least ranking for me, but it's undeniable of the most fun sounding song that just appreciating a time that I'm sure Maurice was remembering back then of this awesome time in September. So that's my number 3.
Do you think it's overplayed?
I think that it is the most overplayed Earth, Wind, and Fire song. It teeters on being played too much, but that being said, I mean, I don't hear it that often on the radio. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's me. You want to do your number 5?
You just go through all of them. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So number 2 for me is Let's Groove. I really, really liked Let's Groove. Just the general sound. I love the chorus, the lead up to it. I mean, it just has everything that I'd want in a funk song. And this was a song that I didn't know that the title to, but when I heard it, I was like, oh well, obviously that's the title.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, this is great. And this was the first song I consciously remember actually grooving and also doing I'd say a pseudo stank face. My number 1
stank face.
Yes, I did have a stank face for my number 1.
Okay.
Which actually we can go straight into is Boogie Wonderland.
Okay.
Yeah, something about it, just whether it's the way he goes in on the verses or whatever, it hits. It just something in my core was just like, yes, this is awesome. This is great. I listened to it while sitting down, was moving, dancing to it. And then when I was driving and listening to it, or turn it up and, just drive a little quicker with a little more pep in my step on the gas pedal.
So audience, we can now infer that Tony's favorite Elijah Wood film is Happy Feet.
Who Who sang it? It wasn't them, right? Didn't they do a cover?
No, I mean, I think in Happy Feet it was just an ensemble thing. They all just danced to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good times. So I don't have Boogie Wonderland anywhere near my top 5.
Really? Yeah.
I don't have Boogie Wonderland anywhere my top 5.
How about Let's Groove?
Let's Groove is on there. So number 5 is Gratitude. Yeah, number 5 is Gratitude. That one is a Stank Face mention only. I mean, it's a great song, but it's really just a Stank Face tune. 2, I have a tie. Or not 2, 4, I have a tie. It's between 2 songs, Sing a Song and September. And those I have in there is because I love the horn work. The riffs are a little cheesy, but they're very catchy. And so I really enjoyed those. I have Let's Groove at 3.
Okay.
So I agree Let's Groove belongs in a top 3. It is my number 3. Now this is where you and I differ a lot. We need to talk about this album as having probably one of the best runs to end the album. So number 2, I have Getaway, which that is what do they say? A piece de resistance. I don't know if that's a good thing. I just hear it a lot when people showcase stuff. It is a great it's a great funk. It's very funky. The bass line is just it's nasty. It's nasty and it's stinky.
It's a stinky song.
And it's very stinky. This whole album stinks. And the horn work on that one is really well done. It's one of those ones where a lot of notes and not a lot of time. And so it's you learn to kind of appreciate the musicianship that comes with playing that. If you've ever met anybody that's played a brass instrument, they will tell you how hard it is to play it, and it is not easy. So thank your local brass player. And number 1, you should have known this going into this. I was going to pick the Slow Song. After the Love Is Gone is my favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song of all time.
Oh, wow.
Say we're not live. If you give me a list of Earth, Wind, and Fire songs to play on the aux, I'm starting with After the Love Is Gone.
Wow.
And that song, it's so well done. And if you love key changes, boy howdy.
Yeah.
This song has so many key changes just in its own choruses. It's really interesting. And it's one of those songs that I really like to, it's one of those late night drive songs. We don't have a lot of those nowadays. So basically, I think we agreed on a couple of these, but I don't know if we're going to agree on the songs that we don't think should have made the cut.
Probably. For me, honestly, the only time that I felt like I didn't like the song, though I liked all of them, but like I felt like my mind kind of wandered somewhere around like Can't Hide Love or Got to Get You into My Life. I was listening to Got to Get You Into My Life because that it's a Beatles cover, and I don't think I had heard the original either, and it was just kind of contrasting and comparing the two and whatnot. And I feel like that might be the song that like doesn't really do it for me because it's just so.
We agree,
right? Like it feels off. Like there should be a different song there.
You can't funkify the Beatles. I'm sorry. There's no version of Hey Jude with a sick bass riff in the middle of it. Reminds me, there's every once in a while I'll come across an Instagram reel and there'll be a guy sitting at a kit listening to a Beatles song and they're like, why didn't Ringo do this? And it'll be like, I Want to Hold Your Hand, but he'll like double bass pedal and like double time the song and like do these like sick fills. And I just think it's hilarious. But the point is that Beatles music stays Beatles music. And I personally, I'm sure that was a popular song when it came out. That's probably why they covered it. It's just like when Oreo made the pop rock Oreos. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it.
It was fine. Just like this cover.
It,
It was fine. I mean,
I mean-
but I don't think it fit the album.
yeah, I would rather had a group. I would rather had a group photo. But then again, by the time this came out in '98, they probably had so many renditions of the group. They were probably like, we can't fit all these people in here. Now, I got beef with this.
Okay.
I got beef with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm going to talk to you real quick. Earth, Wind, and Fire, look at me. Put me solo.
Oh wow.
Put me solo.
The one time. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire. How dare you? How dare you leave In the Stone off of this album? It's not like it came out after this album. You had time. You had time to put the song in there. It's one of the greatest songs you ever made. That's a problem. I shouldn't have to go. You can put two up now. I shouldn't have to find another compilation called The Essential Earth, Wind, and Fire just to find a song that you know is one of your greatest hits. You know, what would Ozzy's greatest hits look like if he left off Crazy Train? You know, what would Queen's greatest hits look like if they left off Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? You know, what would the Lizzie McGuire soundtrack look like if they left off the Hey Now song? This is what nightmares are made of.
Totally.
It's Tony's favorite album. But I think that the worst thing about this album is the fact that they left In the Stone off of it. I think the songs are fine. Obviously the bangers are bangers. I think that leaving off one of your biggest hits off of a greatest hits album is like buying a new car that's missing a wheel. It makes no sense. The analogy doesn't make sense. But if they had put the song on the album, I wouldn't be doing this. So, Tony, you are not familiar with that song.
I am not, and I mean, unless I heard it, but you talked about it. There was a cover of it or a rendition of it in Drumline.
Oh yeah, so yeah, in the movie Drumline. For those that are not familiar with the movie Drumline, it's about a drumline. And those who are familiar with the film Drumline, it's in the scene where Orlando Jones is starting to get the band together, and there's obviously a montage to show how the band gets ready for their show. It's a great song. And the fact that it wasn't included angers me. I'm visibly angry right now. But I mean, what's your favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song? You know, tell us what you think. Tony, I'm not sure. Do you have one in mind for next week? Do you want to give us a little teaser on? You don't have to tell us the name of the artist.
Sure.
Do you have an era and a genre we can look forward to?
I was dancing around the idea of maybe a more either this artist as a solo project or his band, but it kind of follows the light rock in the 2000s, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's going to be a little bit different from my usual choices. The reason I'm choosing it is just to kind of see if you're familiar, and two, if not, what you would think of the album, because it's one of those albums that I always kind of go to when I'm feeling in that kind of mood of just something completely different that you wouldn't expect me to listen to. Very much like you wouldn't expect me to be like such a big Boyz II Men fan, to kind of go this route as well. But it's a little bit more there. So anyway.
The 2000s, you said?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, we'll have that next week.
Absolutely.
And as always, let us know in the comments. Like, what do you think? Do you like Earth, Wind, and Fire? Do you agree? Do you think September is overplayed? Do you think In the Stone should have been mentioned in this album like 30 times? Just let us know. But as always, at the Vinyl Vault, I'm Parker.
And I'm Tony. We'll see you next week.